Hey, what's up guys? In this video we're going to talk about ankle mobility, or in my case, cankle mobility. Alright, let's get started.
Alright, so if you're a geared lifter, or if you just prefer to fold over more in the squat, you'll see that you don't need that much ankle mobility. For the most part, the shins will stay pretty vertical. So I'll try to demonstrate that. You can see knees aren't really traveling that far forward. But however, if you want to keep your torso more upright, you'll see that the knees will have to track forward a little bit more, and you'll need a little bit more ankle mobility. So, see the difference between that and that? So, with my knees more forward, you can see everything's kind of stacked on top of each other. My torso is relatively upright. Now, if I sit back more, you'll see my shins are more vertical. So that's kind of like just a style preference thing. But if you're trying to go deep and your shins, your knees can't track forward, watch what would happen. So in order to try to hit depth, my lower back is rounded a little bit. It's kind of scooping underneath me to try to hit depth. But if I can just push my knees forward like that, or even with the narrow stance, you can see my lower back is nice and flat. And this holds especially true for high bar squats. And the more forward your toes are pointed, the more ankle mobility you will need. So, high bar squat. Now if my knees can't track forward, look what happens. It's really hard to even get into the bottom position.
So I forgot to mention that you could compensate for poor ankle mobility by turning your feet out like this. I think this is commonly called duck feet. But the problem here is that this may or may not be your strongest position. For me personally, I prefer something like this. Everything feels nice and stacked. As I ascend, I can keep my knees open and everything's nice and aligned together. A lot of people are forced to turn their feet out like this because of poor ankle mobility. But then the problem is they're not strong enough to maintain this open position throughout the entire range of motion. So compare this to the distance between my knees here to this. I've created all this extra space right here. And if I'm not strong enough to maintain that space throughout the entire range of motion, what you're going to see happen is my knees will collapse like that. And you definitely don't want that.
So you can see that a lack of ankle mobility can be quite troublesome. So the first squat that I recommend is simply just leaning up against the wall and trying to push your hip, keep your feet flat on the ground, and look forward, and then just trying to get your hip forward like this. And this should stretch the back of your calves. And as you get more and more advanced, your feet can go further and further behind you. Eventually, it just gets too ridiculous. And try to keep your heels on the floor at all times. Eventually, your ankle mobility will exceed what this exercise, the stretch, can provide for you. So, next thing you can do is just place your foot up against the wall, and then just try to get closer, bringing it like that. But this is super awkward. I don't find this very effective, and my heel, no matter what, always just kind of slips down, so that's super awkward. So this is what I like to do. Just grab one of these like aerobic step-up things, or you can just stack up some 45-pound plates, grab another plate, and what you're going to do is you're going to set the ball of your foot on the edge of this box here, and you're just going to place this plate down right behind you so that it doesn't slip out backwards. And it kind of locks it down. And then from here, all you're going to do is you're going to lock on your knees and then just bring your hips forward. Like this. Eventually, you'll get to a point where your hip is over your ankle. So when you're first starting out, maybe this is as far as you'll be able to get. You just try to increase that slowly over time. Eventually, you get to somewhere around here. And then from here, what I like to do to get an even deeper stretch to just get on top of the box, put all my weight on this leg here, the ankle that I'm trying to stretch, stand on the ball of my foot, and then just let my weight push me down. I'm just trying to sink my heel down to the ground using my body weight. And so with this stretch here, the heel is not in contact with the ground, but it's trying to be. You're trying to reach the ground with your heel. And everything, you want everything nice and stacked. Just let your own body weight help you sink down. What you can do to make it even more intense is to use added weight to help you sink down. So I'm just holding a 25-pound plate here. I like to do this for anywhere between 2 to 4 minutes per side, per cankle. To help the time pass, I'll just sit here and text, or listen to music, or go creep on Instagram, anything like that, just to make it less boring. So I'll just hang like this for, again, 2 to 4 minutes per side. And you want to try to keep your weight on whatever ankle you're stretching. So you're kind of basically doing a little flamingo, standing on one leg thing. Just use the other leg for balance, but don't put any of the weight on. And you should feel a really deep stretch in the calves right here. All right, so the next stretch, I got a band here, fixed to something nice and sturdy, a box, and a kettlebell. So what I'm going to do here is get 1 feet through, stand on the box like that, put the band right around the ankle. This will help me keep my heel down. And then I'm going to take this kettlebell, just place it right on top of the knee, like that. And then with the other foot, I'm going to try to get it in front of me. And I'm just going to lean forward, feel that stretch, and try to keep the heel down on the box the entire time. And again, 2 to 4 minutes per ankle is what I find is pretty efficient for me. And for all these exercises, I try to do them every time I'm in the gym, so that's at least 4 times a week. The more the better, obviously. To a point. You don't want to get too crazy with it. You don't want to be a mobility hero. So just do as much as you need, but high frequency I find really works well for me when trying to increase mobility in a certain area. And that's it, nice and simple. You can see already this really mimics the position, the bottom position of the squat. See the knees are over the toes, heel is still down on the ground. And this is also great for just stretching out your glutes too a little bit. Be careful getting out of this position there. One final stretch you can do is take a loaded barbell, stand together with a pretty narrow stance, toes forward, pick it up, rest on your knees, like that. You're going to have to lean back a little bit, not too much, to counterbalance all this weight going forward. But again, just chill here for a little bit. I don't really like this stretch too much because I don't feel like it's as effective as what I showed you guys earlier. And eventually, you have to load this up with pretty decent weight, at least 135 pounds, to really push the knees forward to get that deep stretch in the calves. But that's extremely uncomfortable for the thighs, personally for me. So that's why I don't use this stretch. But just an option, just to throw it out there. So kind of arbitrary, but still interesting nonetheless. Test for dorsiflexion is stand with your feet a few inches from a wall, and while keeping the heel in contact with the floor, push your knee forward and try to touch the wall, like that. If you get less than 2 inches, that's pretty bad. 2 to 4 inches is good. Anything above 4 inches is excellent. So let's see how well I do. This tape measure starts at 2 inches, so just kind of ignore that. I'm going to try to aim for 4 inches here, so that's the 6 right there, and boom. Pretty easy for me. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys found that helpful. Go work on your cankles, and let me know how it goes in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.